If you come to YouTube regularly looking for opinions on the latest and greatest running shoes, then you know the big personalities and you probably have your own favorites. Well, in the last year, a bright new star has appeared in the vast expanse of running gear reviewers. She brings a fresh new perspective, delivering honest, in-depth shoe reviews that are always a good time. My guest today is Emily Heller, host of the Run Like Heller YouTube channel. As you'll see, she's a really positive, encouraging person, and I had a lot of fun speaking with her. I know you're going to love this one, so let's go. Hey everyone, my guest today is YouTube running sensation Emily Heller. You may know her a little bit better as Run Like Heller.
Yeah.
Her channel is growing by leaps and bounds, and I think it's absolutely well-deserved. Her honest shoe reviews, her awesome personality, I think have gone a long way to helping it grow the way it really deserves to. She is a real force of nature from Long Island, New York. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to talk with you today, Emily. So without further ado, everyone, Emily Heller, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited today. I'm ready to go, and let's chat.
Let's see, I guess really to jump in, I'm just going to ask you about your athletic background. Go back as far as you want to, whatever you think is relevant.
Yeah, so in grade school, I pretty much just did team sports such as basketball, softball, soccer. I never did any running of any kind like throughout grade school. So I was always athletic, but never running wise. It wasn't until college that I actually started to pick up running, which was actually through triathlon originally.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got started in running and endurance sports in general.
Where along the lines did you realize that running was something that you were going to keep doing?
Yeah, so just to go back into triathlon a little bit, how I started with that was my father's a pretty seasoned triathlete, and he asked me and my friend if we wanted to do a relay where he was going to swim, I would bike, and my friend would run. So I trained with my friend, for her run portion, and from there, I pretty much fell in love with the sport, and I did a half Ironman. I've done a bunch of sprint triathlons, Olympic, all that kind of stuff. But I realized that I really don't like swimming. It's not for me, really. I mean, I tolerated it for years, and one day I was just like, I don't really want to do that anymore. So instead, I started training for a half marathon in, I think it was like 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did a half marathon, and then I really kind of fell in love with that distance, and it's sort of been history ever since then.
That's so interesting because, yeah, I mean, that's very similar to my story. I trained sort of, I had a friend who had a treadmill that was sitting around collecting dust, so I bought it and dragged it into my house, and I just did that just for a couple of years, and my first race was a half marathon as well. So I just kind of jumped into the deep end. It sounds like kind of like that's where you ended up.
Sometimes that's all you need is just like a treadmill and a little bit of like to be inspired a little bit by something, and then you train for a half marathon or you train for whatever distance and you just fall in love with the sport.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because, a lot of people, they don't really think they're a running person until they just kind of just jump in, and then it's like, it just, for some people, myself included, it just becomes all consuming.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in grade school doing just team sports, doing the mile around the track during gym class was my worst nightmare. And now I look back at myself and I'm like, oh my God, give me a break.
Yeah. It's funny because it's like if somebody else is making you do it, it's just the worst hell in the world. But
yeah,
as soon as you're out there just because you want to be, it just changes everything.
Exactly.
Cool. So tell me what your training schedule looks like these days. Days of week, does it change by season? All that kind of fun.
Yeah, so I will be honest with you, I don't really follow too much of a structured training plan, especially right now. but I have a lot more time now to run because I've been working from home. So usually when I was traveling to the city for work, it would be more of like I would really try to do like 4 days a week. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot to some people, but with the commute and just like with work and everything, that's really all I could fit in. So I would try to do like, I do like a bunch of like 5 to 6 mile runs. I probably do like 2 of those, and then to do like maybe one longer, slower run, and then one like tempo day.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah. So now what I'm trying to do is I've tried to fit in like 1 or 2 extra days because I have the time. So most of my days are 5.5 mile runs of like a steady pace, whatever I'm feeling that day. I just like to go by feel. And then I'll do like a longer run, maybe like 8 miles on the weekend. And on Fridays, I try to do like mile repeats. And it's not a lot. It's just like 3 miles as fast as I can with 3 minutes rest. And it ends up being like 4 miles, but it's just enough. And I think it helps to keep my speed there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you say only 3 miles at speed, but when you're in the middle of one of those miles, trust me.
Yeah, then it feels like you're in it for like 30 miles.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So you touched on what was going to be my next question. Like you said, you're working from home, I assume, due to COVID.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about like how that's, obviously you're running more because you said you have more time. Mm-hmm. But has that changed for better or worse your goals long term? Like with more time available to run, are you kind of pushing your limits as far as weekly distance, etc.?
Yeah, I definitely think that the pandemic, if it's done anything positive, is that it's helped me improve on my running. And it's given me more motivation because when I was commuting to the city for work and stuff, I was tired a lot of the time, and it felt like more of a chore than something that I wanted to do to get out and just go for like a simple run. But with the pandemic, that's like on a bad day, it's 2 hours to the city on a really bad day, and like maybe like 2 hours back. So that's 4 hours of my day now that I have. So it doesn't feel like it's as much of a chore. And I think because of that, I've been able to like fit it into my routine a little bit better. And I've been able to kind of improve on my pace, which is a great thing. And I think it's also helped me in my mindset. Like, it doesn't have to feel like a job. It can be something that like, you actually want to go do and makes you feel better doing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Before the pandemic, my goals were to, my main goal was to do the Chicago Marathon. That's not happening anymore, obviously, this year. But I almost think maybe it's like a blessing in disguise, sort of, because I think with all of this happening and all the extra time I have the ability when I do get to do that race to maybe do it in a better time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of like where I've been at with the pandemic and my running. It's almost made me a little more motivated, so that's good.
See, that's so cool. You touched on something. I did a video right when COVID first hit, where it was all about stay motivated, use this opportunity to go well beyond what you thought you were capable of before, which is all great and good. But, I have to admit, in reality for myself, as this drags on, I'm trying to push my limits. I'm doing what I can. I bought a treadmill so that I can try to keep my speed up even with the heat. But yeah, there are times where it's just so hard to say, well, maybe I'll get to run next spring, so I'm going to keep on training hard. But, it is what it is. But it's great to hear coming from your side that you're finding it more motivating. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying. I mean, there's not really much else to do. I mean, you can't really do the stuff that you used to do, just going out to do your daily stuff that you wouldn't even think of before this is kind of all altered now. So, I mean, the one thing that kind of remains sort of constant is running, and something that you can still do. So I've kind of taken that and tried to run with it a little bit.
Yeah, gotcha.
No pun intended.
Cool. So I'm going to ask you, related to all that, do you work any kind of cross training into your schedule?
I don't.
Okay.
should, but I honestly haven't in a long time. I have a triathlon bike that sits and collects dust downstairs.
Oh, wow.
I really should get out and use it more. I used to kind of do a little bit of cross training, and it would be mostly with the bike. You know, I'd go out and do like 30 miles or something like that. But that's kind of faded with time. I would really like to get back on it. You know, in fact, I just ordered a Peloton,
Oh,
which
wow, good for you.
yeah, which won't be coming till September. But I mean, that could be something that I could throw in there on, maybe to give my running muscles a little bit of a break and kind of engage those cycling muscles a little bit more. And I don't have to leave the house. The bike's right downstairs. So I'm hoping
Exactly.
that'll kind of help my cross training a little bit.
That's super cool. That's super cool. Yeah, I find that even though I hate admitting that I'm at this point running the majority of my miles on a treadmill,
Uh-huh.
just because down here it's just so blazing hot.
Oh, yeah.
But it is what it is, and if it keeps you motivated, and to have some cool air around you when you're actually exercising goes a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So, all right, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here.
Okay.
From what I've gathered about you in the videos that you post on your channel, you're not much for talking about your PRs and stuff. But even if we don't talk about your PRs, if you don't want to go there, just kind of give everybody a little insight into the highlights of your running career, whether they're just like, they don't have to be related to time, but like, what are your favorite moments from running?
Yeah, so it's really like I don't mind talking about my PRs. It's just that I don't like keep as good track of them as I know like a lot of other people do. So I always feel bad but I do know some of them. I mean, the major highlights of my sorry, I'm touching my face. Hold on one second. Okay. The major highlights of my running career are I did the New York City Marathon in 2015. So that was a big one. And I think my time for that was 4:30. I mean, it was my first marathon and I couldn't have been happier with that time. And in 2018, I did the Philly Marathon. Yeah, and I managed to shave like 15 minutes off my time. I did like 4:15 something. So that was, for me, I was happy with that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then recently, in November, I did a half marathon that I wanted to like PR. I think my first half marathon ever, I did like in 2 hours and 2 minutes or something. But this I did in like 1:41:40, I think. Yeah, so I really am excited to see like what else I can do like in the marathon distance, because I really feel like I'm so much of a different runner than I was in 2019 when I did Philly. So yeah, so I think my goals for like going forward with that would be to maybe like get something in the 3s. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, go ahead. I was just going to say that judging on that vast improvement on your half marathon time, it sounds like, I mean, you're probably set to really destroy your marathon time.
I hope so. I mean, I was really hoping to see what I could do in Chicago this year, like I said, but you know what, maybe this is a good thing and I'll be even faster next year or whenever I get to do it again. But as far as my other distances, I really don't know what my 10K time is. It's like maybe in the 40s somewhere, maybe like 45, 46 minutes. And 5K is not my favorite distance. I think it's like 21 something maybe, but I don't know like the seconds, honestly.
Yeah, 5Ks hurt. It's just,
yeah,
I've run one. Yeah, it's just the gun goes off and it's just sheer pain for 20 some odd minutes or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and I always find myself like towards the end, right at the finish line, like wanting to dry heave no matter what. No matter what the effort that I'm putting in is, it's just like this thing that goes off in my brain and I just like never thrown up, thank goodness, but I do always get like a weird like sick feeling. I think it's just like how hard you're pushing it for such a short period of time. It's like threshold till like the very end. Ugh, it's not my favorite.
Yeah, I always feel like I have to swallow my heart like 10 times over the course of that 3 miles.
Exactly. But yeah, those are kind of my highlights. Definitely New York City, Philly, the half marathon I just did in November. Those are my 3 big favorite races that I've done.
That's awesome. So would you say, it sounds like, at least for now, a marathon is your favorite distance?
Yeah, I mean, I've only done 2 marathons, so I maybe I would say that, yeah. But I think really like my sweet spot, my favorite thing to train for too, the most doable thing for me is like half marathon, probably.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, just a little less training. Marathons can take up a ton of time,
Oh, I
as
know.
you know. I saw your times. You're incredibly fast, way faster than me. So,
Well, I think that's probably just lack of any other hobbies for me. I just,
hey,
nothing to do. I just start running. Cool. That's awesome. So, you said that, Chicago obviously was pushed back because of,
Mhm.
the pandemic, but did you take that deferral? Are you going to be running in 21?
Yeah, I actually just did it yesterday, but I don't think I can pick the year. I think they pick either 21, 22, or 23. So I'm kind of at the mercy of
Oh,
whatever they
wow.
choose. I think that's how it works. I have to go back and look at it, but I'm pretty sure that I don't necessarily get guaranteed for next year.
Gotcha.
My
Gotcha.
fingers are
Okay.
crossed because I would love that, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, there's so much up in the air, because there are so many races, even some of the smaller races down here. It's like everybody's trying to figure out how they're going to deal with the mass influx of runners once things open up again. So,
Exactly.
but it's funny because I know so many people that intended to run Chicago in 20 that
Hmm.
pushed back. And my intention, I actually wanted to run it,
Oh yeah.
and it was one of those things I didn't even realize that I missed the window to apply. So
Yeah.
my intention is to run it in 21 as well,
There
just
you
because
go.
it's so flat and fast. And I've never traveled that far for a race before. So it'd just be kind of a fun thing for me and my wife to do.
Yeah, I think it's a really good course. I've obviously never done it, but my dad did it, my best friend did it, and they said it's flat and fast. So I feel like it's like the perfect place to PR.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping to maybe eke one more out before I get too old to do that anymore. So
I think you can manage.
we'll see. We'll see. I feel last one did not feel good. So
Oh no.
at any rate, cool. So this is a very general question, but what motivates you now to run? Are you like chasing a particular PR in any of the distances, or is it just more of just like a social, just stay in shape kind of thing at this point?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I definitely run now just to keep, how do I explain this? It's become kind of like part of my daily routine almost. So if I don't do it, I don't like feel as good that day,
Yeah.
is one way that I would put it. In terms of like PRs, I don't necessarily have a distance I'm trying to PR right now, but I do really want to kind of like shave some time off of my miles and feel better while I'm running those faster paces. So I think like since I've started running, I kind of started like in like a 9-minute mile range, and I've kind of gradually shaved it down to like feeling comfortable in like the 745, 750s, like at a comfortable, like truly comfortable.
Hmm.
I would love to feel even more comfortable, like at like low sevens, high sixes, which is kind of like where I'm at in like my mile repeats right now.
Okay, gotcha,
So
gotcha.
yeah, so I'm trying to kind of like get myself to feel a little bit more at home at that pace. Uh, so that's kind of where I'm at. Distance wise, I don't really have anything specific right now. It's just more about feeling good during faster miles.
Yeah, yeah, and that comes just as even as your intervals increase in distance.
Right.
You eventually, it's like magic. For myself and for a bunch of runners that I know, there's that magic moment where you go, "Hey, wow!
Yeah,
I just went 5K and it didn't hurt, and I ran it in whatever used to be really, really hard."
exactly.
But that's awesome. I'm glad to see you pushing like that. That's just so
Trying.
That's awesome. Okay. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Now that everybody has kind of a good feel for you as a runner, I'm really curious to know what your motivation was to jump into YouTube and social media in general.
Yeah, so I have been following a lot of running YouTubers for a long time. I started watching Ginger Runner in like 2012. I think everybody started watching Ginger Runner first. But that was definitely like, I saw him doing it and I was like, wow, like it would be really cool to do something like that. I got into running shoes in general and running shoe tech around that time. So I was fascinated by all the foams on the market, all the different brands. And I just like really enjoyed it. Then I started watching Jameson Michael and his YouTube channel. And those were kind of the two for a while. And I felt like I should try this. Like I have a journalism background. I know how to kind of like work a camera to some extent. I know editing software to some extent, but it was hard to make that leap because I don't know if you experience this, but it's just a matter of like, oh, well, people like won't like it or people won't watch it, or they're not going to think that I know anything about shoes when they have these other two experts who like know all this stuff about shoes. So you kind of get like caught up in all of that.
Yep.
And I had like a writing blog for a little bit of time where I would like write about running shoes. But that became a little bit more of a chore for me because, like writing all of that. And at the time I was working on the overnight shift and it was just a little too much.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so then in not early, but in like late 2019, like in September or something, I was just like, I don't know, like, why don't I just like try it? And if I have like 5 subscribers, I have 5 subscribers. And if I have 500 or whatever it was, like, then that's great. Like, I'm just going to go for it. And I did. And I wish I had done it sooner, but I'm glad that I did it now. And here we are. And it's been such a fun ride, such a fun experience.
I'm glad to hear that because that's the big thing for me. I mean, I'm, especially compared to a channel like yours, I'm small potatoes, but for me, that's not what it's about. I really get so much joy out of if I can bring real, like, solid advice to somebody who's just getting started.
Absolutely.
And you get that comment or you get an email and it's just, I can't explain just how magical that is, like to know that you actually help somebody out there.
That's what it's all about. It's just like helping people, the community. It doesn't matter. The subscriber count doesn't matter. Like, sure, that's great and all, but like what really matters is like hitting home for somebody, helping one person, hearing that you did that, like that's what it really like means for me.
Exactly. That's so awesome. I'm glad to hear you say that. Yeah. And to kind of to address something that you said at the beginning of that, that's something that I worry about too, as far as, well, I'm no expert. Why should somebody listen to me and all that stuff? But the thing is, in your case, your honesty and the fact that you come across as like a real person, you don't just come across that way. No, I know what you mean. You're the real deal,
Yeah.
And I think that goes a long way, especially when it's like the shoe reviews and stuff that you do.
Right.
It's like when you speak, you can just see it in your eyes. You're giving the full, real, unvarnished opinion about that particular shoe or whatever piece of gear you're talking about. No, it's really great. And I'm not trying to just kind of be overly nice or anything. I'm just being honest.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it.
Your channel is amongst my top 5, easy.
Well, that's awesome
because I know every time I see a new thumbnail from you, it's going to be something that's going to be really helpful. And I try.
I do my best. I try to. I think what makes people want to watch a YouTube channel is sure the content, but also like the person behind the screen. Like, can they relate to that person? Can they, is there anything that they resonate with? And there's a lot of amazing YouTubers who are really fast and really informative and amazing, but but they might not relate to somebody who might be like a middle of the packer. Just as like I may not relate to somebody who is running like 5-minute miles. There's somebody out there for everyone. And I think like, especially for me, like one thing that's really that I, really like about like my channel, I guess, is that women can maybe relate to me a little bit better than some other channels, because there's really not like a ton of other women, which I would love for there to be.
I couldn't agree more. It's
Yeah.
just, that's one of the things that really makes your channel really fresh. It's just so nice to hear another perspective, besides, that sort of testosterone fueled thing that guys tend to bring to YouTube.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's that stuff is good too. Like the guys, they're killing it. They're like the OGs. They've been doing it for a long time, and it's good to have like a voice that maybe like women could resonate with a little bit better. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that's actually true, but that's one of my goals for my channel. So I hope that that's the case.
No, apparently you're doing things right, because you're growing, and like I said earlier, it's well deserved.
Oh, thank you so much.
So I just kind of give me an idea of where you plan to take the channel. Like your shoe reviews are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Your gear reviews are amazing. I even enjoy just more of your lifestyle kind of videos when they come out. What are your intentions for the future?
Yeah, so I've obviously been doing a lot of shoe reviews, which is great, and I couldn't be happier. I feel very lucky to be able to do that and to have the amount of shoes that I have to like be able to give that content to people. That is honestly a dream come true, just in that sense, getting to try all the different shoes. But I've been trying, and I don't want to promise it to anybody, but I'm trying to make 2 videos a week. Like I'm gonna make more of an effort to do that. And I know like a lot of people easily do that. Like Kofuzi does that. Seth Demore does one every day.
Every day, yeah.
Which blows my mind. That guy is a legend for being able to do that. But for me, like with my work schedule and whatever else, even from home, it's a little bit difficult to kind of execute 2 a week. But with the time that I have now, I'm going to try to do it as much as possible. And so that's one goal. And then I do want to do like a little more lifestyle type stuff, like a little more like race related stuff. But of course, with COVID, that's kind of been difficult. Yeah, just a bit. But yeah, I've had requests to do like other gear reviews. I've had people ask me to do like recovery sandal reviews.
Oh,
like,
wow, okay.
Like all different kinds of stuff. And I'm open to that. But I think for me, mainly like my biggest passion is just like the shoe reviews, honestly.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to keep doing that as much as I possibly can, comparing different types and maybe talking about some shoes that don't work for me, that didn't make it to 50 miles. That's something that I kind of want to get on the channel.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. More lifestyle when I can do it. Couple more videos a week, and just keep churning out the shoe reviews.
That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, you're like I said, I don't mean to keep on keeping on with this, but your shoe reviews are awesome, because every time I watch you, I know I'm getting the real deal.
You are. That's one thing. I will not sugarcoat it.
Very cool. Thank you. So this is a really. I'll just ask the question. We can always drop it if it's not where you want to go. But what's the favorite part of your channel's success?
I think my favorite part of my channel's success is kind of what I said before, just being able to like help people. And when people ask me questions, being able to give them advice. Again, I'm not like a professional. I don't own a running shoe store. I don't know all of the different types of foot types and all that kind of stuff. But from experience, I can kind of give them my 2 cents and helping somebody. Or when somebody comments and they say like, oh, you recommended this shoe and I tried it and I loved it. It's like my favorite shoe, like that kind of thing. I really like that. And just like the community that it builds. Like, I got a lot of regulars like comment on my stuff every week, and being able to go back and forth with them. That's really fun.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of, what my greatest, what I think is the coolest thing about having a channel. And also, of course, like being able to have the opportunity to review all these shoes is something that like I'm so grateful for. That's incredible as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. You're doing a lot of good out there. You're helping a lot of people. I bought, three pairs of shoes in the last year based on your
Did
recommendations.
you really?
Yeah.
Did you like them? I hope you like them.
Yeah, so far, so good.
Okay,
So
good.
good.
What are they? What shoes?
Okay, the Endorphin Speed, and I'm not going to say the Speed, the Endorphin Pro.
Okay, yeah, I love that shoe.
And the other one that comes to mind, front of mind for me, is the Skechers Razor 3.
Yeah, great shoe.
Yep. Oh boy, that's my Tempo Day shoe.
Yeah.
I just love that shoe.
Such a good shoe.
Yeah, it's funny because Skechers is killing it. You know, I don't want to go
They
off
are.
into a commercial for Skechers, but
No.
I also picked up the Horizon Vanish earlier in the year,
Okay.
which is their little sort of 5K specialty ultralight.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, what a shoe!
Really? That's one I have not tried.
Yeah, if you get the opportunity, I think you can get it really cheap these days.
Mhm.
I wouldn't recommend going more than like a 5K in that shoe. But
Right.
if you want to feel like you're not even wearing shoes, but somehow you're being protected from the road, it's just amazing.
I gotta check those out. I've heard good things about that shoe, but I just felt like maybe it was not enough shoe for me.
Yeah, it's definitely not a long distance shoe.
Yeah.
It's definitely a get the race over with and take them off kind of shoe.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So let's see, where do we want to go next? Here's a big one. How do you balance running, your social media presence, your job, your family? How does all that come into a mix together?
Well, that's a good question. I need to do a better job, honestly, of unplugging sometimes. So that's still something that I'm still kind of trying to work out.
Gotcha.
But, it's just a matter of making it work in your daily routine. I have a very specific during the week, especially routine where I wake up, let the dog out, go for a run, come home, do like my chores around the house. Then I start working at 3 p.m. I work 3 to 11. So most of my stuff that I need to do gets done during the day. And on days that I need to edit a video, like today I have, to edit because tomorrow on Sundays I usually post. I try to do it like periodically throughout the day so that I'm not like gonna fill up my whole Saturday night with it. Like I try to, make sure that I have enough time to hang out with my girlfriend and hang out with my dog and do whatever I have to do that day that's enjoyable and editing videos is enjoyable, of course, but just something that I can kind of decompress for a little bit.
Yep. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. And then it's always a matter of once I do post a video on Sundays, I get lots of comments, which is amazing. And I try to answer them as much as I possibly can, but there are definitely times during the day where I just, try to put the phone down a little bit and do what I want to do or do what I need to do and revisit it at another time. So it's definitely a balance that I'm still kind of working on, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you have Instagram posts and trying to stay present on Instagram and stuff like that. So that's a whole other thing that I try to balance. So it can get a little bit crazy, but I think that I'm getting the hang of it over time. We're still working on it.
Gotcha. Yeah, work in progress. I'm with you. Yeah. Cool. All right. So I'm going to ask you an open-ended question here. Mm-hmm. How has running changed your life for the better?
Oh, it's definitely changed my life in major ways. Not to go too far back, but before I started running, I was into fitness. Like I said, I did team sports in high school or whatever. And then in college, I, went to the gym. I did fitness classes at the gym. And that was all great. But once I started running and doing triathlons, I really opened this door to myself that I didn't really even know existed. And I realized that I'm physically capable of so much more than I was kind of giving myself credit for. Not that I'm so great, but I didn't even know that I was capable of running a 5K.
Yeah.
And now and who knew that I was capable of running a marathon? And I think everybody has that in them. It's just you really have to unlock the door, open it, and kind of see what's inside. And another thing that has really changed, that running has really changed for me, is that I'm definitely a person who deals with a lot of anxiety. I get anxious about like the silliest things, and I don't think I'm alone on that. But
Definitely not. I'm right there
yeah,
with you.
yeah. So like it's like very therapeutic for me in some ways. When I don't run, the days that I don't run, I feel a lot more anxious just about like, anything random could just make me feel anxious. But when I kind of like get those endorphins out and I go for a run, no matter what the distance, I always feel a little bit more at peace. So
Mhm.
I think it's kind of helped not only like my fitness and like the physical aspect of things, but also like the mental aspect.
Gotcha. That's great to hear. That's great to hear. Yeah, I think there's, I'm hoping that there are some brand new runners watching this. And, I just want to say to them, this applies to you. You may not think that running is going to take you all that far. You may not think that you're naturally attuned to being a runner. Stick with it. Give it a few months. You'll be amazed at what you can do.
It's so true. I think everybody has it in them. It's just a matter of, like I said, unlocking the door, opening it, and being like, all right, like, here we are, we can do this, and kind of just sticking with it. I think anybody's capable of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so glad that you ran it down that way, physically
Yeah.
and mentally. It's just, it's done exactly the same things for me. And I can't, it's the whole reason I'm doing this YouTube channel, is just to try to get more people to realize how great it is.
Exactly. Like that's what it's all about. It's not just about, PRs and races and your place and your age group place and you're this and you're that. It's
Mhm.
about like the personal aspect and how it makes you feel as an individual.
Well said. Well said. I'm going to widen the scope of what we're talking about just a little bit here. What do you do for hobbies and interests outside of running, if you have time for that?
I looked at this question beforehand and I was like, God, what are my hobbies other than running? Like, I don't really know, but obviously hanging out with my dog, and I've got a dog recently, so
What
she's
kind
one
of
of my
puppy?
new hobbies. Huh?
What kind of dog?
She's an Australian cattle dog, lab beagle mix.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, her name is Ruby. So she's a handful. So she's kind of one of my hobbies now. Obviously, like hanging out with my girlfriend. We love to go out to eat. Obviously, can't really do much of that right now. But
Yes.
cooking on the weekends, or getting any kind of like, I try to eat healthy during the week, and then like on the weekends kind of eat whatever the heck I want.
Oh, good for
So
you.
I try. It doesn't always work out that way, but like just picking out, like watching like Netflix shows. Another big thing that I do really like to do is we go to breweries with our friends. One of my like best friends who's always on the channel, Kate, we hang out
Mhm.
with her a ton. We all like love to go like to breweries, drink some beers, go to the beach. We go to Montauk a lot, like during the summertime.
Wow, awesome.
Since we're on the island, we might as well.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. But as far as other hobbies, like it's not, it's kind of like just running mostly. I do have somewhat of an interest in like lifestyle sneakers,
Okay.
not just running sneakers. I kind of
Yeah.
keep up somewhat with like sneaker culture. Um,
Okay.
but other than that, it's kind of just mainly running, hanging
Yeah.
out with friends, hanging out with my girlfriend and my dog, and it's kind of it.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, it's funny because whenever I ask that question of people, it almost catches them a little off guard, because it's like, well, isn't running enough? It's like running takes up enough time. What else do I
Yeah,
need to
I should really make time for some more hobbies,
do?
but I should do a little better with that. But yeah, I would say that those are kind of like, if you want to call them hobbies, those are kind of what I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you. Cool. All right. So I'm going to ask you, do you have a favorite piece of advice for either runners or other YouTubers slash social media people? You can choose one or the other or both, whatever works for you.
Yeah, so I do have some advice kind of for both. As far as running goes, a couple of things I would say, don't compare yourself to other runners. don't compare yourself to the person who's running, you know, like elite times. If you're not there, don't compare yourself to that, or compare yourself to somebody who's faster or who's doing this or that or the other thing. Like, try to just worry about you and where you're at. And if that's somewhere that you want to go and you're saying like, wow, look at so-and-so, like they're running these times, I want to do that, I'm jealous, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely guilty of that 100%. I would say, don't worry so much about that. Focus on your training, focus on what you're doing, and that will come with time. That's one thing. Have patience, put in the work, and eventually you will get there. It might take, you know, months, it might take years, it might take whatever it takes, but you will eventually get to that point.
Exactly.
And then another thing I would say for runners is, if you don't feel like running that day, just go do it. I've done that so many times where I'm just like, you know, I don't want to go today. I'm just gonna sit home, and then I always feel like kind of guilty that I did that, you know. So
Yep.
I always feel better when I just force myself out the door and just do it. You know, it's cliche, everybody says it, but you never regret a workout. I don't anyway. So that's another piece of advice. I don't want to go ranting, but there's another thing that I'd like to say. Am I saying too much?
No, I say
Okay.
testify. Keep going.
Okay. Another thing that I would really like to say is, don't let anybody tell you that you're too slow to wear a certain shoe.
Absolutely.
Because I've seen a lot of stuff online where it's like, why would somebody who runs these times wear this shoe? It's for fast runners. It's for elite runners, and that is such like an elitist take on things. And I really I want to break that. Anybody can wear any shoe. Like,
exactly.
If you run like whatever the case, if you run like a 15-minute mile, whatever it is, like that somebody would consider like a slower pace, whatever. And you want to wear a Nike Next Percent, go wear the Nike Next Percent.
Exactly.
That shoe is just as much for you as it is for Eliud Kipchoge. Like it has the same benefit. It'll make you a more efficient runner, and I just want to like kind of break that stigma. It's something that me and my friends talk about all the time, is this like theory that only like very, very fast elite professional runners can wear these fast shoes. And I just think that is not true. So to anybody who's insecure to wear, you know, carbon fiber plated shoes, or to wear like a racing flat that you think's maybe not for you and like your kind of running, well, I think that's BS and you should just go for it.
I'm with you. I think, you know, because it's not just a physical thing. You may be a slower runner for now, but if you lace those shoes up and they give you the confidence to go out there and kill it, then put on those shoes and go out there and kill it.
Absolutely. I just think that that's so important. And a point that I really want to drive home, and I see on social media all the time, people like talking down about other people wearing certain shoes. I'm just like,
just silliness. Those are the people that shouldn't be online.
Right. Like, it's not about that. The running community is supposed to be a positive space, supposed to like lift people up. So if you're listening to this and you're insecure about maybe wanting to buy a speed shoe, a super shoe, whatever they want to call it, go buy it. I don't want to part you for your money, but just go buy it.
Yeah, if you can afford it, go buy it. Don't break the bank to do it. But and I'll take it a step further. Go out there, buy them, and post your review on YouTube. Everybody wants new perspectives.
100%. I think that's so important. And to touch on that, like a thing that I would say to you, like YouTubers, as a piece of advice, and I by no means have the biggest channel. The guys, Kofuzi, Seth, Ginger Runner, Jamie, Believe in the Run, they all have tons more subscribers than me. But one thing that I would say is always treat your channel like you have 100,000 subscribers. Always put in the effort that you like, how do I say this? Like, always put in that effort that to where like you would have like a super channel. You know, you get the response from the public from like the effort that you put in. So don't like, if you have only 50 subscribers or whatever it is, don't say like, oh, well, only 50 people are going to see this, so I should just put in half the effort. I won't tweak this little thing. I won't fix the, that sort of thing. Like, no, pretend or act like you have as many subscribers as the next person, because people see that, and I think that's what they say, like, oh, like this person like looks like seems legit, like I can relate, they did a great job with their video. That's just something that I've been trying to do, is like, I may not have 100K, I may not have 50K, I don't even have 5K, whatever it is, but I am always gonna like treat my channel like I do.
Yep, that's just great advice, and I'm going to take that directly to heart. And one thing I do want to add too is that, like you said, you're pushing like 5,000 subscribers now. Yes. It is not going to be long before you are absolutely massive, because I know I've spoken to other people who have subscribed to me, and we're just kind of like YouTube friends, etc. And there are some people, I'm not going to put you on the spot or put them on the spot by naming them, but who have told me stories about how you've helped them out.
That's awesome.
Where you didn't need to, but you went the extra mile. And I know you're a genuinely good person, and I wish you nothing but the best. And I know that comes across, and I know you're going to be huge in no time. And I think it's so well deserved.
I hope so. I really appreciate that. Even if I stopped getting subscribers tomorrow, like whatever it was, I would be so grateful, because of just like the community that it's built and the people that I've gotten to help already. Like, of course I want to take it even further and go as far as I can. But it's been such a fun ride so far. So I'm excited to see kind of where it's headed.
I'm so glad to hear that. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. That's great. Definitely. So do me a favor, and do everybody who's watching a favor, and tell us the best ways to find you online, how to get in touch with you, all that kind of fun stuff.
Sure. So mainly I would say Instagram is the best place to kind of reach me at. My Instagram handle is @runlikeheller. Very simple. I'm also on Strava. That's Emily_Heller. I need to kind of like make these a little bit more streamlined. But my Strava is Emily_Heller. And then those are like the two main places you can like see my workouts on Strava, obviously, and all my social media posts on Instagram. And I have a Twitter. It's kind of like a work/running Twitter, but it's @Emily_A_Heller. So those are the three places that you can catch me. And you can also email me at runlikeheller@gmail.com.
Super cool. And I'll share all those down in the description so that people can just give it a quick click.
Awesome. Thank you.
Emily, I will sing your praises as long as you remain online.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for participating.
Yeah, this was great. I had a great time.
I hope so.
Very conversational.
Well, exactly. I hope so. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. And, and thank you again so much.